Welcome back, it's FNews57 here. I'm back on Neverwinter on the Xbox One, and today I will be trying to go over what's new in the Module 12B update, and of course, the patch notes. So I will leave a link in the description to the actual forum post where you can go through and read all of the changes yourself, but I am going to highlight on the biggest changes what I think is good, what I like, what I don't like, what's new, and just basically point you guys in the general direction. So I hope that you go ahead and enjoy the video. Now, the first thing that we're going to start off with is the very biggest thing, in my opinion, that the Module 12B update has brought to the game, and that is a massive change to the refinement system. This is the part that's going to kind of be a little bit crazy for some people. I confused myself and almost discarded an enchantment, but that's besides the point. So there's actually two things that you're going to notice. The very first thing that you're going to notice when you open your inventory is it looks a lot different. It looks a drastic amount different. And I did just mess with my mic, so if I'm a little bit too loud, let me know in the comments and I'll change it for the next video. But basically, you're going to see your inventory. It looks like this. You can still swap between bags like you could normally. However, you can also just scroll down or click down by items, and basically you can see all of your inventory bags on one screen. Also, if you go down to the very bottom, you're going to see this new category called Inventory Options, which you can go ahead and click on that, and that's where you would go if you wanted the buy a bag. If you have Identify All, which is a neat feature because all of your unidentified items, if you have scrolls, you can just hit that button right there, and it'll go ahead and identify the unidentified gear. You can also sort all your bags, you can change your display options, and you can convert refinement points. Now, this convert refinement points thing is a little bit tricky because I don't fully trust it, especially for converting like all of your green unidentified and then identified gear. On PC, they originally had an issue where it could also convert green artifact belts and artifact equipment. So I'm just going to stay away from that for a little bit. I'm not going to mess with that option, but I will go and do the refinement manually. So that brings me to the refinement category. You'll notice that I have a bunch of green items in my inventory. That is because the refinement point system was changed. Every single thing that previously rewarded refinement points is now capable of rewarding refinement points, but refinement points are their own currency. Now, they can still crit, and actually every item that can be converted to refinement points can crit, which is something that they were never able to do before. So like these rank 5 enchantments, I can go ahead and convert them to refinement points. I should get 3,900 refinement points, which, remember, everything has been reduced by a factor of 10. The amount of RP that an item is worth is reduced by a factor of 10, and the amount of RP that is needed to refine an item has also been reduced by a factor of 10. So just go ahead and click the refine button, and you'll notice you get that little that weird noise, and that is the audio cue telling you that at least one of the items you converted to refinement points crit. So I can go back up here and I can do that to my next stack of rank 5 enchantments. And you'll see that, you know, obviously some of those crit. I can also do it with paradots. Paradots used to be worth 500 refinement points per without a chance of critting. Now they're worth 50 refinement points, and obviously they have a small chance to crit. Like that one, just crit. But you can go through and you can do that with everything. You're bound to account items, you're bound to character items. This refinement points, like that blood ruby, it didn't crit, but I got it out of my inventory, so that's a good thing. Those rank 5s did crit. If I go back up to the top of my inventory, I can now go ahead and use all of these basic green gear for refinement points, it converts at 50 refinement points, which basically makes every piece of green gear the equivalent to a lovely Peridot in the old mods. Personal preference, what you want to do. The biggest negative with this refinement change is the fact that artifacts that you don't want can no longer be used as feeders. So like this Ogma's Token of Free Movement, it's not useful to me as a feeder. It's just going to get scrapped for 150 refinement points. I wish feeders were still a thing, but they're not. Now, anyone that did save like their Brilliant Lumens or any of that currency, you can convert that to RP. So I have a stack of Brilliant Lumens. I can go ahead and convert those for 7,425 refinement points, and that even has a chance of critting, which is pretty cool. I'll cover the new marks that were added in just a minute, but what's commonly dropped by enemies instead of rank 5 enchantments that were normally worth 1,000 refinement points are these little black pearls, which are worth 100 refinement points. And you can go ahead and convert them just like anything else. Now, in addition to that, we did get a new lockbox, the Lockbox of the Lost, which in it has, of course, the flying carpets or carpets of flying, whatever you want to call it. I don't get into the lore that much. But the biggest thing is there is new stones. So I'll just open 2 of those real quick to show you. A 9 Gods enchantment pack and a Lost Stronghold pack. So nothing really that great. I can open the enchantment pack, and I got the greater mark of potency, black opals, and a regular mark of potency. So that wasn't fantastic at all. Now there's a couple different things that you're also going to notice. Some of you may be aware of them, some of you may not be aware of them. We got 2 new items. We got the ultimate mark of potency, and we got the ultimate enchanting stones, which all of your stones previously, basically your mark of power, mark of stability, mark of union, all of those have been changed. They're now called enchanting stones. So you have like your lesser enchanting stones, your enchanting stones, and then you have your purple ones. They just changed the look of them to superior enchanting stones. They're the same item, guys. Same exact item. Nothing to worry about on those. The new thing is the ultimate mark of potency and the superior, or not superior, but the ultimate enchanting stone. Sorry, we still have our regular normal superior marks of potency as well. Now the reason why that those were introduced is the fact that you can now have unparalleled enchantments. So if I go and hit refine on, say, this Fey Touch, this transcendent Fey Touch, which by the way, any enchantment that you crit refined over the max refinement cap, that refinement, as you can see, there's that little gold bar there of basically 14,000 refinement that carried over to the new mod, which is pretty cool. But you can see that I need 10 ultimate marks of potency and I need 3 ultimate enchanting stones in order to actually upgrade this, in addition to the refinement points. But that would make a unparalleled Fey Touch enchantment. Of course, it has the 1% upgrade chance, and the item level is marginally increased from 82 to 97. Now, armor and weapon and enchantments can only go to unparalleled, but regular enchantments and runestones can actually go all the way up to rank 14s. Which the first thing I would recommend you do is your bonding runestones. So you can see here I have a bonding 12, which just brings me to cover the bonding nerfs. They were nerfed. It's not going to be as bad. Bear with it. All the content is doable with rank 12s. If you can get them to rank 13s, you're going to be pretty powerful. If you can't get them to rank 13s, just wait and work on it. I don't agree with the way that it was done, but this is not something that is unsurmountable. So rank 12 bonding, you're going to need 1 ultimate mark of potency in order to upgrade it. It has a 3% upgrade chance, and basically then you get 60% of your companion stats. If you go ahead and get it to 14, you would get 65% of your companion stats. And that's basically what it is as far as the Refining System. The Refining System works the same way. If you have a Coalescent Ward, it guarantees the upgrade, but the ward's consumed. Pres wards just prevent you from losing the reagents. Now let's cover how to get the reagents real quick. For anyone who is interested, you can go to the Wondrous Bazaar, go to the store under Consumables, and all the way at the bottom next to the Superior Mark of Potency, you will see the Ultimate Mark of Potency. The Ultimate Mark of Potency is normally 125,000 diamonds, so that's what its base value should be, but with the VIP 12 discount, you can get them for 93,750. You can also get them from the enchantment pack. Now, the annoying one, the actual Ultimate Enchanting Stone. The Ultimate Enchanting Stone is the annoying and very expensive one. I don't have any yet, so we'll go to the auction house, and remember pricing may be different depending on what platform you're on. And we're going to go all the way down because there's some new things like teal diamonds and stuff like that that have been released. But you can look and see that an Ultimate Enchanting Stone, that's what they look like. They drop very rarely out of the lock boxes and very rarely out of Tomb of the Nine Gods. They cost about, well, at the moment, there's one for 1.6 mil, 1.7 mil, and then 2 million a piece. They will drop down. On PC, they're about 800-900K. Still, they're expensive. That's why I said don't worry about 14s right away, because you're going to need those to make rank 14s. And to turn a 13 into a 14, you only have a 1% upgrade chance. So that's going to be expensive and a little bit time consuming. As I said, though, you can do pretty much any of the content in the game with all rank 12s. If you can get 13s, you're even better suited to it. So it's not a end-all be-all, oh my god, you know, thing. Now that we covered refinement, let's go ahead and, well, move on to a question that some people had, and that was your enchantments. You see that I use 3 different refinement gain enchantments. I use a Fey Blessing enchantment. This works exactly the same as pretty much every other mod up to this point. When you kill an enemy, there's a chance that it'll drop a enchantment on the ground that's bound to a count. Works exactly the same way as it always has. Your Dragon Horde enchantment works exactly the same way as it always has. Your Quartermaster's enchantment, for anyone who is actually running Quartermasters, works exactly the same as it always has. No need to fear on that. Same thing with Wanderer's Fortune. It all works exactly the same as it did, so gaining refinement is actually easier in this mod than it was in previous mods. Alright, now the part that I was dreading. Queues. This is the other big, giant change. And I don't really like it, but we're going to make do with it. So now when you go to your queue menu, you're going to see it looks very different. You've got all these random little dice-looking things up on the top there, and pretty much what the hell are those? Well, this is random queue. Random queue is a system that I think is cool, but I do not agree in the fact that it's basically being forced on the player. That's really annoying, and I just, it's like, I don't like this. Anyways, instead of having to do your normal 2 dungeons, 2 skirmishes, and 2 PvP matches along with your 6 invocations to reach about 25,000 diamonds per day per character, what you now can do are these random challenges. Basically, random skirmish. This is complete 1 skirmish with a random group, random skirmish, and you get 7,590 diamonds. That's with the bonus from VIP. 1 random dungeon, which this is the random leveling dungeon like we used to do, and you get 9,085 diamonds. 90 Seals of the Protector, but the Seals of the Protector we don't really care about those. It's about the diamonds. And of course, you can look at the list. Like, you can scroll down on it and you'll see Cloak Tower, Cragmire, Grey Wolf, Pirate King, Frozen Heart, Spell Plague, Temple of the Spider. Those are the random dungeons that you could be sent into. Now, moving up from there, you get the Random Queue Epic. This is great if you have all the dungeons unlocked. But this can be anything from Kessel's Retreat or Shores of Torin, Mollabog's, Valindra's, Lair of Lostmouth, Temple of the Spider, Cragmire Crypt's Master, Grey Wolf Den Master, Castle Never, FBI, or Spell Plague Caverns Master. Now this is where they royally screwed up, because if you random queue for a dungeon, get into the dungeon, and quit the dungeon, you will receive a queue penalty where you cannot queue for 30 minutes. Anybody will tell you the same team that you would take into Kessel's Retreat is not the same team that you would take into FBI. This is dumb. Cryptic, if you're listening, this category should have been broken down into 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 separate categories. It should be T1s, T2s, and T3s. You should not have T3s in the category with T1s. That is dumb as fuck. This is the part that has pissed me off royally about the game. So the only 2 things I'm ever going to do is going to be random dungeon and random skirmish. Now I should mention that as long as you meet the random requirements for the dungeon, which in this particular case you'll see for random epic it's 1 tank, 1 healer, 3 DPS, you can put a group together of your friends that's 1 tank, 1 healer, and 3 DPS. And then you can go ahead and random queue a epic dungeon. Like, just have fun with it. If you want to, you can. And that's your daily bonus. Now you'll see another thing, and this will be different on every platform every couple hours. But depending upon what the most needed role is, you will see a thing called a role bonus, and it'll say tank, healer, DPS. That role bonus means if you're playing that role, when you go into the dungeon, as long as you're there from start to finish, you get that extra 1,000 rough astral diamonds. There's another hidden mechanic in here. If you are helping a player through their very first completion of that type of dungeon, you will now receive an extra 1,000 diamonds for helping the player complete the dungeon their very first time, as long as they are there from start to finish and don't get disconnected or you don't replace them with somebody else. Then you have the random queue epic trial, which consists of the Rise of Tiamat, Demogorgon, Demogorgon Master, Assault on Sabborg Master. Again, the same team that you would take into Demogorgon is not the same team you would take into MSVA, so this is kind of stupid. That should be split up into multiple categories. And then you have the quest that replaced the Heroes Challenge, basically. The random Heroes Accord. And for some reason it does say daily bonus, so I'm not 100% sure, but if you can do it every day, that's kind of OP. This consists of only Tomb of the Nine Gods, and it rewards you with 2,500 refinement points, 20 Seals of the Brave. That's pretty decent, assuming you could pull it off with 1 tank, 1 healer, and 3 DPS. Basically, that's the equivalent almost of a Blood Ruby. That's the equivalent of half of a Blood Ruby. But technically, if you were strong enough and did that every day, you could make more in a week than what you would want. So that's how those work. Now, you can still go and you can still queue up your regular dungeons. You can still private queue your regular dungeons. You can still private queue your epics, your skirmishes. All of that can still be private queued, except for, obviously, the randoms, because, well, it's random. I mean, you can still private queue it if you have a full team, but you cannot overcome the 1 tank, 1 healer, 3 DPS thing in a private queue. The only thing is you will not get your base diamonds, whereas before you could earn the base reward of diamonds, and it was like, say, 5,000 diamonds for your first 2 dungeons, and then like 500 diamonds after that, up to 10,800, you no longer earn those diamonds. It's only in the random queue that you earn the bonus astral diamonds. So, let's see. The other neat little tidbit of a thing is the fact that we actually have a new skirmish. And you can get a new shirt and pants set from the Merchant Prince's Folly skirmish. So, if you go to your queues, like I showed you earlier, it's under the skirmish category, down here, Merchant Prince's Folly, and it is 10,000 required item level, no specific team comp. it's a little interesting thing, but this is a tip that most people don't know, or at least some people don't know. You can go to your keys task in the Jungles of Cholt campaign, and you will notice that instead of just a Cholton key, you can also receive a Merchant Prince's key. This is how you get the key for that skirmish. If you don't have one of those, you would need to use a Legendary Dragon key. But other than that, it's super easy. You can still access your campaign store, all of your campaign store, from the vendor, which is, I guess, a little bit easier. I mean, it's kind of up to you, really. There is something that they released in the patch notes. I'm not 100% sure of it, but there is supposed to be a way that we can make a progression token for the campaign that we can then send to another character and use it on another character in the same account, but I have not seen exactly how they expect us to do that yet. I will find it, I just haven't found it yet. Other than that, that's pretty much everything that's new. There's been some changes to powers, of course, graphical rebalancing, a little bit of streamlining on certain things here and there, but yeah, it's pretty fun. Overall, I agree with the changes. A little bit bummed out about how drastically bonding stones were nerfed. Quite bummed out about the way the random queue was done, but those are the major pieces that I'm concerned with, at least. One additional thing that you should note is PvP gear. If we very quickly go over here to the Trade of Blades, there's been some changes made to PvP that should make it a little bit more balanced. We'll see how that actually plays out. And I should just go ahead and warn you guys, because I messed up on this in the beginning. They did change the color of enchantments, as you can see by like the rank 5s that I was refining, and this is where I messed up. I have these rank 7s. I almost refined and discarded a rank 7 thinking it was a rank 5. Now that would only affect veteran players because rank 5s have always been blue. Now they're green, and rank 6s and up are blue. Just one minor little warning that I almost forgot to mention to you guys. But just be careful with that one. So what I wanted to tell you and to show you is, even if I go to the prestige gear, the highest of the PvP gear, what are we missing on that piece of gear? Tenacity. There's no more tenacity. Tenacity is done and over with. Thank RNGesus. This is going to make PvP a little bit better, but it's still going to require a different build to be optimized for PvP over to being optimized for PvE. So what's changed is tenacity is gone. Instead, all damage has been reduced by 40%, a flat value of 40%. Also, crit severity, armor penetration, all of that has been reduced by a flat percentage. Control effects now apply diminishing returns. So it's going to be a little interesting to see how that plays out. Are we no longer going to see the perma-stun Hunter Ranger? But how is this going to affect a control wizard and, say, their freezing mechanic? Is every time you freeze an enemy going to count as a control effect? Or are we only going to count, like, Oppressive Force and Steal Time? I'm going to have to play around with PvP and see a little bit how that effects come into play. But it's pretty cool. Now, this PvP gear is supposed to give you additional stats when you go into an actual PvP zone or instance. So it should be interesting, to say the least. Now, if you want to go through and you want to read all of the patch notes and the blog posts, and you want the official like feedback thread for random queue and all of that, that link is going to be in the description of the video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, comments, anything like that, don't hesitate to leave a comment. If you did enjoy the video, please smash that like button and share it with your guild, your friends, Reddit, wherever you want to. That greatly helps out the searchability of videos here on YouTube. I hope I covered the majority of things for you and explained it to eliminate some of the confusion. If I did, enjoy, and until next time, stay frosty.